Pew, 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 pew. Another recording session. Another recording. Bop, 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 bop.
So this whole thing is gonna have to be carried by Rachel today because I'm like every time you go off into your little bits, I'm just like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go take a nap. Just let me know when you're done.
Welcome to the Brightside, everybody, with Mikey and Rachel. I almost said that I'm Mikey. I swear I almost.
I almost might be. I also may be Rachel at this point. I'm not.
I
sure anymore.
almost said it. Wow. What a day. What a day.
I mean, you've had a harder day than me, but like the thing is like for some reason today, I just got back from Lisbon and like today, but it wasn't like a horrible flight. It wasn't early in the morning. It wasn't anything. I just feel. And then I thought to myself, I was like, maybe I danced too much.
Maybe I did a lot of dancing. Do I remember how that feels?
I think I don't think I do, and now I feel it, and I'm like, oh, why would I do this to myself? Because it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
How was Lisbon?
Lisbon was fun. Lisbon was interesting.
Yeah.
Because Lisbon itself, the city, is like super old, and it really does look like it's about to fall down. Yeah. Like any second, but it isn't. and
Great news, everybody.
Yeah, right. Great news, everybody. Just in case
your city isn't collapsing.
The food is awesome. The people are so warm and so nice, and it's just funny to me because like it's sort of like Spanish, but not. Yeah. So it just sounds like a bunch of like young children trying to speak Spanish for the first time, and it kind of sounds right, but it kind of sounds wrong.
Yeah, because you can understand about half of it, right?
Yeah, I mean that's that. I mean, I'm saying that only because of experience, because that's how I feel like I speak Spanish all the time. It's like I'm kind of saying it right, but I'm mostly saying it wrong.
Right? Oh God.
That's serious, but it was fun. It was just interesting. It was just a Lindy exchange, and there was like a long weekend here in Spain, so I didn't have a lot of work to do. So they canceled most of the classes, and I was like, sweet holiday work weekend, and I was like, I should do something. And
so you went there for fun?
Yeah, I just went there for fun, and the organizers really like kind of helped me out, like because I was like, I don't know where to stay. And they're like, oh, we can hook you up if you help us out with the event. And I was like, sure, what do you need? And they're like, can you help us out with the Jack and Jill and judging it and making sure we're running it okay and a couple other things. And I was like, sure. And it was just kind of like they asked me a few questions and asked my opinion. And I was like, this. And it was just a few things. And then the contest, I just ran the contest like normal. I mean, you know me.
I know you.
Yeah.
You run contests.
It was so easy. Yeah. It was so easy. I felt so like very fucking prideful. I was like, you guys, I got this. And I just like
stand back, everybody. Watch the pro at work here.
And I like made the lines on the paper and like put the numbers in, and all of them were just like looking at me like I swear to God they were looking at me like going like, what are numbers?
What are these?
Yeah, because they're just like they had their own way of doing it, of scoring contests. But the thing was, I had never seen the relative placement version that I do, and it was just hilarious. Like I was doing it, they were like, "What are you doing?" And they just look at me, mark down the numbers, and then like read the numbers, and I'm saying what I'm doing as I'm doing it, and they're just like, "Huh?" Like it makes sense. Like I understand all the words, but what does it mean?
That's so funny.
So yeah, but it was really fun. The band was really dope. The Bumpy Roof band was really, really cool.
Really?
Yeah, they're just a bunch of a couple French people, a couple Portuguese people, and a couple of Spanish people. Maybe Portuguese, but I think for sure Spanish and French. And the band was sounding really, really tight. They were playing some really great music all weekend long. And at some point, this is really dope. At some point, they played the Big Apple song. Okay. And it was a good version. It was a good version for a 6-piece band. I was like, cool. And they started playing it, and people started jamming. They didn't do the routine, and I wasn't irked by it. Some people were, and I was just like, whatever, who cares? Like, just because the song comes on doesn't mean I have to do a routine. Right. So people started jamming and everything, and then it started to kind of come down a little bit, and the band was still like feeling it. And I look at the leader, the band leader, and I was like, hey man, one more time at the top, like, and I kind of like patted my head, and I was like, and he looks at me, and he's playing the clarinet, And he's kind of like, I was like this, and he goes like this, and I was like, yeah. And I show him, and I start doing like the jumping around and like stomping the ground, the first two couple of phrases of the Big Apple. And he looks at me, he goes, oh yeah, like big nod of his head, and like from the top, and he turns around, and he tells everybody, and then they're like dun, 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 like at the very end, and then it goes. And they just start playing it again like it was fucking nothing. It was just like a dun dun dun. It was just like it was on repeat.
That's so cool.
Really cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was my own private iPod.
Can we pause for a second? I have water spilling everywhere. Hold on. Jesus.
So we're pausing real quick because Rachel has a cat. I don't know if you guys have ever known this, but she actually has 2 cats. And one of her cats, who usually doesn't do a damn thing, could give 2 shits for anything in the house, is now crazily going after something behind her dishwasher. And it's so funny because Rachel just keeps looking over because we're talking on the FaceTimes and recording this. And she's looking over and she's going, goddamn cat, get away from that every time. And so while I was just talking about every 5 minutes ago, she was looking over there, and now she's coming back. I'm going to keep this part in the podcast just so you know, because it's hilarious.
Oh, now I can't hear you.
All right, so I was narrating the whole time.
Oh no, I heard.
Okay, good.
So
I'm gonna keep that part in there, but if it happens again, I'm gonna cut it out.
Okay.
So don't worry about that. I thought that was funny.
No, it was funny.
As I was talking, you were like darting your eyes over every time.
I know. Well, I like looked over and then so you guys, I have to tell you, I've been having first of all, my house has really bad insulation. Like the baseboards don't connect to the walls well, and like the walls don't go all the way down to the floors in some corners, and so there's like,
I mean, you can't really consider them walls.
There's
at that point,
there's
They're
like
just kind of like
there's like open
room
spaces.
separators.
So there's obviously like not very good insulation. So we get a lot of bugs, and we've been having a problem recently in which we've been having baby cockroaches, which means there's a mama cockroach somewhere, which means they are multiplying quickly. And we've been seeing them in our kitchen, like in our cabinets, which is disgusting. And so I was like, good God, I cannot live another week like this. I have to do something. So I went and bought traps to help get rid of the cockroaches, which it has helped substantially. But they're dangerous to pets. So I've had to,
'cause it's fucking poison.
Because it's poison. So I've had to hide them really carefully. And most of them are like in cabinets that are locked. So the cats can't get into them because they know how to open cabinets. They're smart. They're learning. But I have one under the dishwasher at the very back. Charlie. Oh God. At the very back. Oh, I can unpause. Unpause?
It's okay. Keep going.
Okay. At the very back of my dishwasher, I just like slid it under there, and she discovered it today, 3 weeks later, and now she's trying to get to it because she's like, ooh, what is this new thing? And I'm like, please don't do anything. And she's like, but curious. And I'm like, but no. So then I put a bunch of stuff in the way so that she can't crawl under the dishwasher because I'm afraid now that she can fit.
No, that just made her even fucking more curious. It's like,
I know.
Why are they hiding things from me in my own house?
And so we have like those large water jugs, you know, the filtered water.
Yeah.
And so I laid it on its side so that it like blocked the entire entrance. But then it started leaking, and then I looked over, and there's water all over my floor. As you can see, the struggle is so real here in Los Angeles.
No.
The struggle is so real. Oh,
fucking cats,
God.
man. This is, again, they have too many emotions for me to deal with. I can barely deal with people. Especially now, I'm like listening to the story, and I'm like, if I was there, I would be, first off, I would be scratching my forehead like crazy. Second off, I'd be looking at Charlie and going like, Charlie, shut the fuck
Charlie,
up.
please.
Sit down.
Sit down, please.
It's like, if you're going to deal with emotions, I'm going to fucking throw you a bag full of emotions right now.
She's kind of forgotten about it. She's like looking at other things in the kitchen now, but I might have to go run later. Oh, no, she's good. She's good now.
Okay.
Anyway.
Now she's in a cabinet.
Let's get back to the podcast. No, she's on the sink now.
Oh no, this is the podcast. At this point, everybody.
We'll just narrate everything that Charlie Chaplin is doing, which is the name of my cat.
Yeah.
The other one is Earl Hines.
It's a black and white cat.
It's a black and white cat. Earl Hines, black and white cat. You know, because old people. But the thing is so while I was in Lisbon too, some guy came up to me and he was like, hey, I really, not some guy, his name is Eric. He does a lot of photography for Lindy Hop events in Europe. And he's actually really, really cool, really great pictures. And he came up to me and we were eating dinner on Friday night. And he's like, hey, can I sit here? I was like, sure. And we started chatting a little bit. And he's like, hey, by the way, I really like your podcast. And I was like, oh, cool. I didn't know you listened. And he's like, yeah. And we talk about it for a couple different things. And a couple things I'll probably get into a little later. But one of the best things was more people joined us and they're like, oh, you have a podcast. And he's like, and he's trying to explain it for me. And he's like, yeah, there's this girl and there's Rachel. And it sounds so funny. I don't even know who she is, but I feel like I know her now. And they talk about things like this and things like this. But at the end of it, I always feel like, I don't know if I learned anything, but I did laugh. And I'm cracking my shit up in front of him, trying to explain this whole thing to other people. And they like looked at me and I was like, that basically sums up my whole life. Like, I don't know if I learned anything, but I laughed. But I laughed. I had a good time.
That is going to be the title of my autobiography.
You know what's funny too is like, okay, last week I went to Atomic and people who listen to the podcast, like people have started coming up to me and being like, hey, how's it going? And then they won't have anything else.
Girl voice.
Yeah, hey, girl voice. And they come up to me and then they don't have anything else to say. And so then they'll be like, what are you going to talk about next on your podcast? How's the podcast? Let me ask a question about the podcast. And they're like, I don't know what else to say, so I just go straight to the podcast. I'm sorry and thank you.
You should. That's so fucking great. Sorry and thank you.
I mean, they didn't actually say that, but that was like the tone.
You should totally just start just being like, what do you want me to sign? And just like start having like a magic marker with you all the time.
I should, you know what I should do? Just like pull a microphone out of my sweater and be like, we're recording right now. Surprise.
I really next time someone says like, what are you guys going to talk about? It's like, I want you to do this to me. I want you to do this, Rachel. Next time someone does this to you. And I'll do it too. I want you to
funny.
look them straight in the eyes. I want you to look them straight in the eyes and say, we're going to talk about how much Mikey's a dickhead. And then walk away, but don't lose the eye contact.
Yeah, but then they know that I'm going to be joking.
But it's even better because it's so shocking. Because it's like, whoa, they did it in person. They're weirdos.
Look, Mikey, okay, I'm the artist here. I will decide the script that I will be using. I will be improvising. You don't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me, okay?
You're the artist formerly known as the girl voice.
Exactly. I will make my own script, and it will be great.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. I love that so much. So there was a funny thing that happened in Lisbon. So like that guy came up to me. That was nice and that was funny. But there was another funny thing that made me think. Like two things that happened. One was this woman came up to me and just started a conversation, and I told you before.
And you were like, "That's weird. People never talk to me.
Never talk to me. This is very strange. I'm just
taken aback.
I feel cornered, even though I am in a corner,
physically
like I'm
standing in the corner.
Yeah, I was like, I feel cornered right now, and she started just chatting me up, and we chatted for must have been like 20 minutes, maybe more, maybe a little more. But yeah, she just started talking to me. She's like, hey, do you remember me from such and such place? I told you about this thing. And it's a dancer from Porto, which is in Portugal, another city. And she's like trying to tell me, like, oh, yeah, we had this event and it was really great. It's like, what are you doing here? Like, obviously, is it weird for you not working? And I was like, well, it is a little bit just because I'm used to that. But I really enjoy my time when I'm not working, because then I can enjoy my time at nighttime without having to worry about anything the next day.
Yeah.
And they're like, They're like, yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. Like, what does it feel like when you travel and you have to work and you have to do all the stuff and then travel back and all this stuff? And I was like, I mean, I don't think it like so sectioned off like that. I think of it like it's work. My commute just happens to be traveling in an airplane to one place and then, you know, traveling back at the end.
Totally.
But I try not to think of it like as this work that's like a burden.
Yeah.
I feel like it's work that it's like I'm glad and very happy to do. And then she gets into some other stuff about like confidence and all this stuff, which is what I want to kind of chat about. She asked me if people like me or like people that do it all the time or professional dancers that do this all this stuff, do you guys get nervous? And I was like, I'm pretty sure everyone gets nervous. And she did it in like more of an assumption of like you guys are never nervous. You guys are never this. And we're always nervous. We're always wanting to do good and wanting to compete and wanting to win. And I was like, so do we. And she's like, but you guys never get nervous. And I was like, I can't speak for everybody. I can speak for a couple people because I've been around them when we're getting ready to compete. And being nervous is like the thing that bonds us. We're all trying to help each other not be so nervous.
Totally.
For one thing or another. Like, it could be, I gave a couple different things like wanting to remember the routine.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a thing. Wanting to win. That's a thing for sure. Wanting to just do good for your partner. Wanting to remember what it feels like to dance in front of people and make it be fun. Like small little things. And she's just like kind of like surprised that I was saying all these things because she's like, but I thought you guys were professionals. Like I like, you know, and I was like, but we're people too. We're just
you're either
people.
professionals or you're people. You can't be both.
You can't be both. And that's so fun. I mean, like that is so true because like so many times like it's just like, but you dance on YouTube.
But how did you get on the YouTube stage?
Yeah. It's like, well, it's a very difficult thing. First, you have to make a video, and then you have to upload it, and you have to wait like 15 minutes.
That's like such a long time. Like
I like run away from that.
Like sometimes I get so bored that I'm like, okay, am I just gonna die? But then I don't, and then it's uploaded, and I'm like, oh my God.
I think I'm gonna make another podcast called Uploaded and just talk about fucking the worst swing dance YouTube clips that I could find.
That's for another episode.
That's for another one. But yeah, so like confidence stuff in the sense of like performing and being maybe preconceived notion of what it means to be like a professional dancer.
Yeah.
Like how do you see it? Did you ever like when you first started, did you ever like look up and go like, wow, you guys are like amazing, and then like we're like, oh, you normal people after you got to know them?
Yeah, I think I had like a very stereotypical idea of what professional Lindy Hoppers were like. I like looked at them as like these you know, God, what's the word? Like gods. I was like, oh wow, these people are so amazing. They're just the best at this thing, and therefore they must be great people who are also super smart. And I want to be just like them, and I want to be friends with all of them. And I'm so intimidated to be around them.
Yeah. What do you think made that happen? Was it just that they were good at dancing and it made you feel close to them, or did you feel like something? Was it like an emotion?
I think it was because other people acted and treated them that way. That I assumed that I had to be that way as well. It's like a regular celebrity. Like if you've ever been around a celebrity, which I have. Okay, but like.
So modest, Rachel. So modest.
For example, Brett had to interview, what's his name? Paul Stanley from Kiss.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Okay, that guy was such a dick. He was terrible.
All those guys are notorious for being like, we're the best thing ever.
Yeah, that's exactly how he was. He was like a very stereotypical rock and roll star. But anytime he said anything, he'd be like, fuck, I'm good. And everybody around him would be like, oh my God, you're so great. Go, you go, Paul. And Brett and I were standing there like, are you kidding me? It wasn't that great. Like, it was like, okay. It was as good as any other person would say or whatever.
I wonder at some point, like that makes sense. Like in the world of like Hollywood celebrities or music celebrities, like it makes sense for people to have like yes people around them to like help them up. But there's a level where that becomes a drug. It becomes addicting, and then you can't see the world for actually what it is in real life, and like you make up your own reality. And that's really dangerous. And that's where like a lot of people, that's where I get there's a bunch of discussions online all the time, and anytime, like one of the things like triggers me to be like, I don't want to pay attention to this, is when they use the term rockstar. So there was like some fucking some blog post the other day about like rock stars in quotations, rock stars being at a dance but not dancing with beginners. And I was like and they're like guilting me for feeling like, hey, you should support the community that supported you. And I was like, okay, that's like saying if it wasn't for this wall, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Like it's like and then second of all, like rock stars, like you're putting us up just so you can put us back down. It's like,
well, and that's what they do in Hollywood too.
Yeah, and that's a fucking horrible thing. It's like in our community that we try so hard to be better than the rest of the grander world because we have a chance, because we're closer knit, we're smaller, we're a small knit community. I feel like that term rockstar is almost derogatory. Like it's such a stupid thing. It's like trying to push something up just so you can push it down. Like they're rockstar Lindy Hoppers, and I was like, I hate that.
It's not. Well, it's not.
Really fucking.
That term is not being used in a positive way. You know, it has negative connotations when you say it about a Lindy Hopper.
Yeah, because they always end up talking about it negative, and talking about like, this rock star Lindy Hopper did this or doesn't do this, and I'm like,
and I think people use that term because they're thinking about those Lindy Hoppers as they would an actual rock star. You know what I mean? Like, for example, Paul Stanley has so much money and he's so powerful and influential that if the people around him weren't yes men, he could destroy the whole thing. Like whatever project they're working on. He could be like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm done. And walk out. Yeah. And it doesn't mean anything to him because he's not losing any money, but then everybody else is out of a job.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think about Lindy Hoppers in a similar way. Like when they see you guys at events, everyone's dressed up really nicely and you kind of like, I could see that sometimes like a lot of instructors keep to themselves, or they don't see them out dancing constantly, or they're not dancing with beginners, like they're dancing with each other, or they're sitting on the side. And so then people jump to these conclusions of like, oh, these people are stuck up. They only dance with each other. They don't want to dance with me. They don't want to dance with all these beginners. Why aren't they out social dancing? But they also don't see like that you're tired or you're not feeling good, or this is the 8th week in a row that you've traveled to another country, you know. They only get to see like that moment.
Yeah. Well, not only that, like it's besides everything you just said, on top of that, what they don't see is the fact that like we do this all the time. It's so much like a job that again, like it shouldn't feel like a chore. A job isn't a horrible thing. That has negative connotations on it too, but like really a job is every part of it. And for me, sometimes I need to take the time to like remind myself that I can do this on my terms, in the sense of like I can choose who I want to dance with. While yes, like sometimes I do not want to dance with beginners, and I'm very okay with saying that.
Yeah.
But the thing is like that's not all the time. Like sometimes I love doing that. I love teaching them. I love experiencing things with them, because like sometimes it's their first time, and like that's amazing. That's so cool. Like that's one of the perks of this job. But sometimes, I don't find that I don't connect with them.
Yeah.
And I can't find a thing in the dance or talking to them that is going to help me be wanting to be in that moment. Like I'll chat with anybody. Like that's great. That's easy. That's no problem. But sometimes the thing that makes it feel like a negative job thing is that when it's like, well, you're here working and you should be dancing with them, or you should be conversing with everybody. And I was like, I am, but I'm doing it in my way. That's not like a outward way.
Yeah.
I don't know, like an outward weird way of doing it.
Yeah. So like, no, I think it's hard. I mean, when you put it that way, I think about like, I guarantee every single person out there in this entire world spends a lot of time at their desk or at their job not really doing work. You know what I mean? Like, I read a thing that said that the average person who has an office job does 3 hours of work a day. That's it.
Shit.
3 hours.
3 hours of like, let's say like a 6 to 8 hour job.
Yeah. So say you have a desk job and you decide you want to take a break. And so you go on Facebook or you go on YouTube or you're texting a friend or you call your mom. Like anybody could find you and make the argument that you weren't working hard enough.
Right.
You know, but it just so happens that they work in an office and most people aren't paying attention to them. You happen to be in the spotlight. And so it's easy for people to point their finger and be like, you're not doing this right, or you're not being friendly enough, or you don't dance enough, when they probably do the exact same thing at their job.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, so that kind of brings us back like to what we were talking about before, and like kind of nerves and confidence and such. I think we do this naturally as people. We kind of we look at something we admire. Yeah. Whether it be, in this case, it's dancing. When we look at it, we kind of, how would I feel if I was there? Or maybe they feel like this. We try to rationalize the people and like see if we can make up more. I mean, we do it like fan fiction type stuff, you know, like where it's like we see something and then we were like, what if it was like this? So what if they're thinking this? What if this means this? And they make up a whole nother reality for that kind of thing. Yeah. And I feel like that's natural, that we do that all the time in some capacity. But when it comes to a point of like they have to be like this and they should be like this, and I think that's when it gets a little dangerous. It's like thinking that these professional dancers are better than me just because they can dance good, and means that they don't get nervous, or means that they don't mess up, or they're always perfect. I'm like, that doesn't really happen. Like I can guarantee that we fuck up often on the dance floor just like any other normal human being. And when it's on the dance floor, we just happen to do it to a point where we're like we can roll with it and we keep going. We don't just stop and go, well, that was horrible, and like walk away. Yeah. And of course we want to do well for people, but the thing is, people forget that like people in the audience are, in any audience, this is the loveliest thing about Lindy Hop, is the audience members of Lindy Hop are always ready to be entertained. Yeah. They're always ready to like receive that like awesome joy and feeling, or whatever is going to be presented to them. So it's always really, really great. So I'm never super nervous about that. I'm never super nervous about being entertaining. I'm super nervous of doing well for myself and my partner. Like that I think is a more natural thing for everybody to do, to understand. Yeah. It's like, because it's a partner dance, you want to do well as a dancer for yourself. Yeah. And because it's partner dance, because you want to do well for you and your partner. You don't want to fuck them up. They don't want to fuck you up. Do you have insecurities about being a dance partner? Oh yeah, man. Are you kidding me? All the time. It never shuts off. Like in the sense of like when I'm dancing with somebody and I'm like, oh, did I do that well? Let me try it again. Like that kind of type of thing. Like, yeah. It's like maybe this, or sometimes I'll get too much into my head and then I go, oh shit. Yeah. I'm dancing with this person. I do that too. Yeah. But it was really great because like this past weekend where I didn't have any real duties during the weekend other than just kind of be at the party and be present. Those things popped up, but then I just told myself, I was like, just relax and like focus on the rhythm again. Yeah. Focus on the rhythm and like get that rhythm in your body. And I was like, yeah. And that's when I was feeling dances so much more. But when I wasn't worried about doing a move, I was worrying about sending a clear rhythm to my partner. Yeah. Yeah. And that felt really, really good. And I haven't felt that in a while. So maybe that is why my body is like a little bit shaken up. Like my legs feel like real tight. Oh, I was going to say like Jell-O. No, not like Jell-O. Like I think they should feel like Jell-O right now because I haven't stretched, but My legs are like tight.
Yeah.
And my body's like a little bit like weak. And I'm like, oh, okay, I've danced too much. And I feel good about it.
Yeah.
Like, my body's like, remember that feeling? I'm like,
you're
nope.
like, no, don't. It's been eons.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and then when it comes to like performing and competing and stuff, it's like, yeah, I really want to do well for my dance partners. One thing that's funny is like this past ILHC, some people I know for a fact didn't like their dancing in there, but I loved everybody's fucking dancing in the Invitational Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
I love everybody's dancing this year, especially more than like past years. And the only reason why is because it felt like everyone was just social dancing as opposed to trying to put on a show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was very evident to me because I was like enjoying what I was watching, and I remember vividly looking at the audience, and the audience was kind of like waiting to clap, like their hands are like right next to each other, like parallel to each other, like getting ready to be like, yeah, ready to cheer. And it never really happened as often as it usually had in past contests. And I feel like that was even better. I like that better. It doesn't always need to happen, but it was just nice to see that ebb and flow. And now that we're in this kind of flow of just feeling a dance in a very natural, very easy, not overly doing lead and follow, not overly doing tricks, but just feeling it in the very basic sense of feeling the rhythm, feeling the music, and connecting with your partner.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was really present this time. So,
do you ever like when you're competing or you're performing, do you ever like look around the group of people that you're competing against and are like, man, I do not belong with this group of people?
I mean, I say that when I just walk into a normal like social dance. I'm like, who are all these people?
Why are they all better than me?
Why are they all better than me? And why are they in front of me? Go home, go away. But no, I mean, I used to.
Yeah.
I used to feel like that. And then I had this conversation and be like you're being too self-pity. Like you're putting too much self-pity on yourself. Like I was like, what do you mean? It's just like, well, obviously someone thought you were good enough. So you're kind of saying that their opinion is shit compared to yours. So you're already feeling pompous and you feel guilty about that. So now you're going like, well, I don't belong up there. And I'm like, what are you trying to get at? They're like, look, you're good. There's no problem in saying that you're good. There's no problem in feeling that you're good. Unless you actually feel that you were not good, in which case don't be a professional dancer and call yourself that. And I was like, good point. I'm going to go cry for an hour now. Sorry,
were you just reenacting a conversation that you had with yourself?
No, but it sounded
it
like
sounded
it,
right?
that way. Yeah. I mean, I felt after that conversation I had with a friend of mine, I did have that conversation again with myself, kind of like that,
okay,
like back and forth. So so I've had this conversation a few times, but that was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
And I was like, and really, really, really eye-opening experience to me for hear someone else kind of say it out loud, going, "You're being an idiot. You're putting this guilt on yourself that you don't need to do. There's no problem in saying and feeling good about yourself and saying it as long as you believe it." Up to a level where you don't need to fucking, then it's just being pompous or being like Paul Stanley, So I was really shooken up by that. And ever since then, I felt much more at ease with my dancing. So then at that point, I don't feel like I look up and down a line of dancers and I don't go, wow, I don't belong here. No, I go like, this is going to be fucking awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I think along the lines of that kind of that confidence that comes in saying like, hey, I feel good as a dancer. I think we don't tell ourselves to do that enough.
Yeah.
Again, back to this conversation I had with this lady in Portugal. At some point, we started talking about her having to work on her dancing, and she goes, "Yeah, I really have to." Go to my teacher and have them like really look at my dancing, so I can work on it. And I was like, but why do you need someone to look at it? And he's like, well, I don't know what I'm looking for. And I was like, tell me this. Do you know the difference of when your swing out feels good and when it doesn't feel so good? And she's like, yeah, sometimes. I was like, well, there you go. There's your first steps into discovering it for yourself. I was like, you're a good dancer. We just danced. I've seen you dance before. Like, you understand the difference between what doesn't feel so good and what does feel good. All it takes now is you and a partner. Sometimes it could be different partners, or you by yourself, and just going in and like really discovering that even further.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it doesn't mean you don't need somebody helping you out, like a coach or something. It just means that at some point you have to take up, like, you have to have your own, it's your own responsibility for how good of a dancer you are.
Yeah.
And I feel like at that point, you don't need these outside feelings, like a teacher or another dancer or a professional dancer to come into your scene and tell you that you're doing good. And then like, yay, I'm doing good. And then you wear it like a badge. No, like, wear it like a badge. That's fine. But wear it like a badge you gave yourself.
Yeah. I will say that one of the things that I found with teaching is that people so many times want to be spoon-fed the information.
Oh,
they just want you to keep giving the information, and they don't want to take any time to stop and think about whether or not they can find that answer themselves. And I think there's a lot of value in being able to discover it for yourself. Because I think you can grow more from doing that than you can from just constantly being given the answer without having to search for it.
I completely agree with you, especially in the sense of like our dance culture today. I'm not going to say it's wrong, but I think it's like a skewing. It could get a little bit weird at some point because we put so much focus on these workshops.
Yeah.
That now we're having this culture of like, it's just about learning, which isn't a horrible thing, but like something like the Balboa experiment, which has always had, back and forth and lots of weird stuff being talked about it or good stuff. But the last thing I've heard about it is actually very, very positive in the sense of how they approach the learning process. So they don't even call them classes. And I'm like, okay, that's a little bit weird, but I understand why.
Yeah.
The reason why is because they're not a traditional class. They're more like university level learning, where like you may go to a lecture and someone talks about a topic and they give you as much information as they can. And then it's up to you. Then you go, like, after that lecture, you go into like, the lab.
Yeah.
You go into your study groups and then you figure out the more information together and how to retain it.
Yeah.
And how to like in more kind of more like scientific ways, like a laboratory, and you try to see how you can mess with it.
Yeah.
What other properties can you build out of it? What other concepts can you build? What other questions can you build out of the answer that you've just been given? And I feel like we miss that chance a lot of the times. That is not to say that a lot of dancers out there don't work on their dancing. I think it's the method in which they work of their dancing can be changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the day, the main topic of our dance community is trying to have a good dance with somebody else.
Yeah. And
when you think about that, I wanted to see it from different angles. Like, from one angle, looking at a good dance is like a teacher's perspective, and then another is the students, and then another, like, maybe somebody watching this class, or maybe somebody who's never taken the class but like heard it from another point.
Tooken?
Or like heard it taken. Did I say tooken? Tooken.
I already took in the class.
Tooken. Look. English. English has never been.
It's never been my first language
to me,
nor my second language. Nor my primary language, so.
Nor do I consider it a language.
I don't. It's not. Look, it's not even a language. Okay. Yeah. I would know. I'm a Lindy Hopper. I'm a Lindy Hop teacher. Trust me, I know this stuff.
People look up to me on YouTube.
People look up to me. I'm on YouTube.
I think I have like 100 views on something, and that's pretty a lot.
It's like kind of a big deal. That's like 200 eyes.
What's that?
That's like 200 eyes.
Oh, God. God damn it. Oh, man, so many things. Truths. All truths.
Truth.
But, I mean, just to finish my thought, like, the idea of, like, having a good dance, like, so many multiple ways of doing it. Like, you don't think it's just one way. Like, if one way is not working, obviously you can find another way.
Yeah.
That's it, man. Self-assess your own dancing and try to become your own dancer at some point. And then if you need some help, there's gonna be some teacher or some fucking professional coming along to be like, hey, you could work on this, and then you can be cool, great, because you have a better idea of who you are and what you have to give to this dance. That you can take another thing and try to apply it to yourself. It's not going to change your dancing. It's just going to add into what you already know, or reconfigure a little bit of something that you're already working on.
For sure. For sure.
So yeah. I mean, like, at what point for you do you feel like a dancer should stop depending on outside influences and more depend on their own feelings and their own views of the dance? Just a dancer, just a regular dancer.
You know, that's a really interesting question, because I thought I knew the answer, but then when you started saying it like that, I changed my mind. And I think that it is super important to learn how to self-assess and learn how to be introspective about your dancing and learn how to find the answers yourself. But I also think that it's equally important to look to knowledge outside of yourself as well, because you might think one way about yourself and everyone else feels something very different.
So fucking true. Like, I've always loved your haircut, even though other people say it's not the best, and I get it.
Oh, what? That is not true. Everybody says they love my haircut. Especially Laura Glace. Love you, girl.
You mean Rachel? I'm talking to Laura now.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Right.
So confusing. So confusing.
The Brightside with Mikey and Laura, obviously.
Hello. But yeah, I mean, the other thing too is that you could have a certain perspective about yourself or about your dancing, and someone else is always going to have a different perspective on how to approach something. You know, and I think that I think it's good to stay open-minded about that kind of stuff.
I think it's really good. Even in the sense of like the words that we use. Like, again, like we talk about kind of like how Rockstar has become like a negative term. So like, stop using it, basically.
Yeah.
If something feels bad to you, don't use it. Don't say it. Don't do it. You know, don't do it in your dancing. And in that sense, it's like style. Not the style wars. That's a whole nother topic, but like style in the sense of like, what style do you do? Or like what style they're doing. I'm like, style is a fleeting moment. Style to me is like what's on the mannequin. One day at H&M is different the next day at H&M. You know what I'm saying? Like, the
one
mannequin
thing is for sure, they're all made by underprivileged kids. Do you really want to buy that clothing?
Very true. This is very true. I mean,
do you
have
feel
to make it so
good
political.
when you buy that
you
clothing?
Make everything so goddamn political.
It's because I'm a hipster. What about the children?
A hopster.
Now I'm going to go buy my $3 million home.
with your $20 ladle of coffee.
That's right.
But I mean, I don't know. Like, I just feel like people subscribe to styles. They subscribe to some teacher's ideal of a dance, and I'm like, that's great if you really want to do that. But like, if you're expecting something from that, if you're expecting because like, hey, but I do what they do. Why aren't I winning contests? Why aren't I being asked to teach things? It's like why are they going to ask you why are they going to ask you, or why are you going to win if they're already doing it? If you're subscribing to this other person,
are you talking about
second-rate person? Are you
talking about someone like, for example, people are like, oh, I love Sky's dancing. I want to be like Sky, so I do everything like Sky.
Yeah.
And then they're like, why don't I win, or why aren't I better, or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you just answer your own fucking question. Like, when
I'm not Sky.
Not you. Yeah.
I'm not like, Sky.
You're not them, and we can see that, and like that doesn't help your dancing.
We can see right through you, okay? You are no Sky Humphreys.
Stop putting the blonde in your hair. It's not gonna help.
It's not gonna work, especially you, Blondie.
It's not gonna do it. It's not gonna happen. But yeah, I mean, when people do that, like it's such a weird thing. It's like, it's not style. It's like when I think about dancing now, I think about it as like a choice. As a personal thing, as a personality. Like, when I see you dance, I see your personality. Hopefully when people see me, I feel like I'm putting my personality in my dancing.
Yeah.
You know, it can go up and down. Sometimes it's one way, sometimes it's another way. And that is just like the way I feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I want to see when I look at dancers trying to emulate or just straight up fucking copy and jack somebody else's like version of the dance. It's very easy to see. It's like, that's not them. Who is this person?
Do you think people do that because they aren't confident about their own voice?
Yes. Or they had never found it.
Okay.
I think that's it exactly. It's like, that's just, yes. Like, they're just not super confident with the dance that they have to bring to the table. And I feel like part of that is that because we're looking for that outward gratification or like saying that you're good, basically by a teacher going, hey,
validation,
you good. So validation, thank you. Yeah, validation from the outside perspective. So like a teacher telling you you're good, or a contest saying you've won, or dancers coming up to you and saying, hey, you did good. And this outside gratification that comes with our society today, like that's good and all fine. Like for sure, every once in a while, it feels good when someone comes up to you and go, hey, you did good. It feels great. But to me, if you can flip that, and that can be secondary to you saying to yourself that you did good, you felt good. Damn, I had a good time at that dance. Damn, I had a good time in that contest. Damn it, I felt so good in that routine. Like, oh, if you can do that first, and that means more to you than someone else coming up to you and saying good job, then you're really going to reach a whole different state of your dancing.
Yeah.
An honest state, I think.
I mean, do you think the average person out there is feeling not confident?
I don't know.
Because I think this is
it's hard for me. It's hard. It's real quick. It's hard for me to be able to answer that because I feel like they won't let me know anyways.
Yeah.
One way or the other. They won't like say it to me. So like I can sense some things, but that's about it.
I can smell it on you.
I can smell the unconfidence. What's the opposite of confidence?
Not confidence.
Inconfidence?
I'm an English major, you guys. I know my words. I think this is an interesting question though, because it goes so far beyond Lindy Hop. Because, for example, using myself as a prime example, I usually don't feel very confident in my dancing. I also don't usually feel very confident in the rest of my life. You know, like my dancing is just a reflection of how I feel about myself. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if that is true for so many other people, or if most people are like, they feel pretty good about their life, or they feel pretty good about their dancing, or do you know what I mean? Like I'm just curious to know if most people are like out there dancing feeling super insecure most of the time, or if it's just me and you.
No, it's got to be more
just
people.
The two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Peace sign.
So I just wanna build sandcastles in the sky with Rachel, and that's it. So the thing about the confidence thing, I think you hit a very good idea there. It's like I don't feel very confident in my everyday life, so I don't feel very confident in my dancing. Like I feel somewhat the same. Like I don't feel super confident every day.
Yeah.
But for me in my dancing, like that's my chance to be like I feel good at this. Like this is something that I've worked on so long. This is something that I've felt in so many different ways, good and bad, that when I come to this, even though I may not feel super confident in my everyday life, when I come to dancing, I feel confident because it feels like something I can do.
Yeah.
So that's where I take it a little bit different. Maybe that's the difference. It's like you don't always have to feel confident. And again, it's not to say that I always feel confident and good in my dancing, but I do get a better sensation of that. Like I feel good about it, like whether I do it or not. You know, whether I dance or I'm not dancing. You know, like I feel good about it. And that's okay to say at some point, because if for anything, you know something someone else might not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it. Like I feel like that's the biggest thing. It's like I know I can do a rock step, triple step, and maybe this other guy next to me on the metro like doesn't know that. And I'm like, wow, I know something he doesn't know. But there's also a possibility that he knows something that I don't know. Like that's really fucking great sometimes.
But you wouldn't be saying that standing, getting ready for a competition. You wouldn't look over to Sky Humphreys and be like, I know something that guy doesn't know, and it's rock step, triple step, killer in this competition.
Yeah. But I mean, in a competition, it's different. It's a competition. It's you're being measured up against the people you're dancing with.
Yeah.
But you're also being measured up against yourself at that moment. Does that make sense? It's like you're not being measured up as the person you are or the dancer you are before or after that contest. You're being measured up as a dancer you are right there.
It does make sense, but I think a lot of times it doesn't feel that way.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? If somebody is judging a competition and I'm in it, they've probably seen me dance 12, 24, 3 times. They know how I dance.
A bit of bias.
Yeah. And so I know that no matter how well I do in a competition, that person is going to watch and be like, oh, but I know she's an awesome dancer, or I know that this is the kind of dancer she is. Yeah. It could go either way. And so having that knowledge as a competitor sometimes can make me be like, oh, well, they're just comparing me to these other people. They're not comparing me against myself. Like, I never think about that when I go out into a competition. Like, I'm competing against myself today.
Yeah. But maybe that might be a better way to go. Like, fuck these other people. Who cares? Like, they're gonna. That's the judge's fault.
Yeah.
That's the judge's fault. That's the judge's job.
That's the judge's fault. If I don't win, it's their fault. I deserve it.
It is, and that's why you never see him again afterwards. Like, some things they fell off a truck.
Mysteriously, how did it happen? No one knows.
But yeah, I mean, I think we put there's a healthy amount of pressure you can put on yourself in a contest. There's a healthy amount of pressure you should put on yourself, I think, if you want to get better at something.
Yeah.
But the thing is, at some point, every great artist has always gone off of somebody else's work, or like somebody else's teaching, or been an apprentice or an understudy or some kind of something, and then they went off and did it on their own. Yeah. Like, they went off and fucking created something amazing. Like, whatever artists in the world of fucking acting, it's sculptures, paintings, dancing, everything. Like, there's always somebody that came before you. But the thing is it's you can measure yourself up against those people, or you can measure yourself up against yourself and just be like, who was I yesterday? Am I any better than I was yesterday as a dancer? And I feel like that can be done. It's not going to be so much yesterday, but like maybe the last year, am I better than last year? And sometimes for me, I can say that. And right now, I can definitely say I'm not any better than I was last year. I feel like I was really good last year, and I feel like this year I was like, nah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
No,
I think I do that too.
But the thing is like it's like a healthy amount of it that it's gonna help you.
Yeah.
And if you think about it too much, not you, but like if people think about it too much, then it's gonna be fucking. It's gonna drain you. It's gonna leave you kind of empty and numb.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna move forward or backwards. You're just gonna stay exactly where you are.
Totally.
And the last thing about this is this conversation that I had with this lady is that she started talking about being a Lindy Hop teacher and how her and her partner like really tried for it, and then they were like, nah. Or like, she didn't say she really tried for it. They're like, they wanted to. They had aspirations and dreams to be a Lindy Hop teacher or professional, and then for whatever reason she stopped. I think she said it was just too hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, in my head, I didn't want to like push the subject because like I was already feeling like she's kind of wrapping it up, and so am I. But I wanted to talk about the idea of being a Lindy Hop teacher. I think for a lot of people, it's romanticized. It's romanticized, but it's like a double thing. It's like, I want it, but you're also, maybe you shouldn't want it. Like, you gotta go at it sideways. Like, I'm like,
yeah, I mean, why? I definitely thought that. I'll tell you why. I know something that you don't know, Mikey. Well, I'll tell you what I think anyway.
Lies.
I think the people who are like the A-list celebrity Lindy Hop instructors, a lot of them didn't strive to become instructors. They kind of fell into the position. You know, it was like they were handed a golden torch, and it feels awesome as an artist when someone discovers you and wants you to do something, and you don't have to reach out to do it. You don't have to sell yourself to do it. They just find you and then give it to you. That's like everybody's dream in Hollywood, to be like walking down the road and then a director turns and goes, you're the one. You're the person who I need in my big, great movie. And you're like, Steven Spielberg, I can't believe it. I'm going to be Lincoln.
Just because of the way I walk?
Just because of the way I walk. You know what I mean? Like, because I totally felt that way. I was like, I want to be a Lindy Hop instructor, but I don't want to sell out and have to like promote myself shamelessly just to get people to hire me for these like tiny events that may not even pay me anything, and just, you know, wearing myself thin and making myself look like a sellout. No, So then why does
like real talk?
Yeah.
Real talk, ready? So then why does being an actress feel so much better than being a Lindy Hop teacher? Because that sounds the exact same thing. You have to do all that stuff.
Because my attitude changed. My
okay.
attitude changed.
So we got to a different point. I see. Sorry, I remember now. You were thinking that before, and now you're changed.
Yeah, I had a change of attitude, but I think that a lot of people feel that way, because I know, like, when I was working with Kevin and we were talking about wanting to teach full time, we did not want to promote ourselves. We wanted to just. We thought that the best way to go about doing it was to go win competitions. And then because we were winning, people would then come ask us to teach at their event. And that did happen a little bit. But I think for the most part, people didn't know that we wanted to teach. We didn't put it out there.
That's what it comes down to. Like, I feel like in some way, in a very like real world way.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to put yourself out there to be discovered.
Yeah.
You can't just be discovered by sitting in front of your computer the whole day. Like, you have to be discovered by going, I mean, like, for lack of a better way of explaining it, like, you have to be out there walking around.
Yeah.
To be discovered, if you're going to be discovered that way. But like the thing about it for me is like, yeah, I totally felt that. But now I'm like, but then you're just copying what somebody else did before. So what's the difference? It's like, things need to change. Things need to evolve. Whether they do it slowly or fast, it doesn't matter, but things will change. And I feel like now people are discovering it's like, it's the, like you said before, it's like the golden ticket. Like, the golden ticket is handed to them because it's like the universe saying, like, you have a talent.
Yeah.
Here you go.
This is your destiny.
Okay, you could take it or not. But you know what? Like, some people have talent and never do anything with it, and they're given this ticket and they don't do fucking a damn thing. But there's other people that have worked hard, and they got to a point by gaining experience and gaining time and gaining knowledge through hard work. Yeah. And now they're making it. They're going out there and teaching stuff or performing or doing it however they want to. But I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily just teaching. Teaching is one part of many to do this dance, to present this dance.
But teaching is the primary way in which you get income as a Lindy Hop instructor. Like, you can't be a performer as a Lindy Hopper and make a decent living. Not as a regular traveling Lindy Hopper.
It's a difference. I mean, like, if you want to lump it all together, but sure, like, yeah, but it doesn't mean you have to be a good teacher. It just means you have to be a good dancer. You have to present something very good. We've talked about this many times in the sense of like, for instance, yes, teaching is the thing that you're fucking doing. Yeah. But you may not be the best teacher, but it's because you are a good dancer and you could present things in a very like nice way. Look at the dress, or look at the pants that I'm wearing, and look at the moves that I'm doing, and look at the band that I'm dancing to. You know, like it's all about like perception. But anyways, but the thing is like, fine, whatever. Call yourself a Lindy Hop teacher, call yourself whatever. But the thing is like, go for it. Like, do whatever you can. Like, I feel like there is a level of promotion that is like, ooh, it's a little overboard.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. But I don't believe in shameless promotion. Like, I'm like, whatever, dude. Who cares? Like, that's what the fucking social media is made for. Like, everyone is shamelessly promoting themselves in a light, you know?
Totally.
Like, I know for a fact people go on Facebook and go like untag themselves from pictures because they're like, that's not flattering. And I'm like, why do you care? Like, that's more real than anything else. They're like, well, I want to present myself in a good light. And I was like, oh, I get it. You're trying to control your brand.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it does all go back to confidence. Like, I wasn't confident enough in myself to promote myself and be like, I know that I have a reason to be hired by other people.
Right.
I wanted other people to give me the reason. And, you know, looking back now, I think had I promoted myself, I could have been a Lindy Hop instructor, but I didn't want to. I didn't want it bad enough.
Yeah.
That's what it really comes down to at the end. I didn't want it bad enough.
I mean, yeah, that too. But like, I think again, it's not only that. Like, you wanted to go through it in a certain way, and you had this like dream of making it a certain way, which is usually really good. But that's for me, like, that's what always stopped me from having goals.
Yeah.
Is because if I don't meet that exact goal, then I feel like I failed. So then I'm like, I'm not going to make goals because I feel I'll never make that certain goal.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, it's more of a sense of like, look, I want to get good at my dancing. I want to get good at my dancing with someone else and maybe become partners with that person. And then when I perform a couple things and maybe come up with a couple ideas and then maybe teach this local lesson or ask to teach this local lesson. And then, oh, there's an event over here. Like, maybe we can ask to be that way. Like, the thing is I feel like it's like networking. There comes a level where it looks a little bit desperate, and I'm not saying that usually. I'm saying that lightly, but the thing is no problem going out there and being like, hey, I would love to teach if you give me a chance. I would love to help shine, and I can help do this and whatnot to like a dancer trying to ask an event.
Yeah.
I feel like today there is no problem with that because there's so many fucking events and there's so many event organizers out there looking to cut some costs, but yet still present a good product. And I think a lot of organizers out there are willing to at least give a little bit to up and coming teachers, the next wave of teachers, or else this whole thing that we got going on here, the Lindy Hop Festival event game, is not going to work because there's no new people coming through.
Yeah.
It's just going to be the same old people coming through, which a lot of times is okay, but like, there's got to be a cycle through of people.
Well, now I will say to that end that at least in the US, there aren't a lot of up and comers. Like, there's like the top tier of instructors, and then there's like one or two couples who are up and comers who are like working full-time professionally but have only recently been doing so for the past couple of years, and that's it. There's no one else doing it.
Yeah. And there's for me, like, when I look out at like YouTube, or when I look out into a crowded room and everything, and I see dancers coming up and I see dancers getting better, I see it, but I don't see like that thing. I don't see that drive. No, it's not a drive either. I can't even put it into words. Like they gotta have that it thing, for lack of a better term. It's like that it thing that makes them their own personal dancer, like their own idea of the dance is oozing out of them every time they dance, and you can see it and you can feel it, and it surrounds you, and you can't help but watch this person.
Yeah.
Or these people, like lead or follow, girl or guy, like whatever. What matters for me is like not necessarily that they're winning a contest. For me, it's like, I gotta see it. I gotta see them when they dance, that they are feeling it. And sometimes I feel like in the U.S. we stunt that vision because we've been kind of trained not to think of the arts as anything more than a fleeting moment of like something you do as a kid. Yeah. So then we kind of we automatically dismiss it a lot. And so people always like make make fun of me or like, again, this fucking blog post that I saw about these Lindy Hop rock stars. It's like they come to dances and they don't even dance with anybody. And I'm like, for me personally, when I go to a dance and I don't dance with anybody, you can fucking for sure see me watching everybody at that dance though, because I'm looking for those people that are doing that because I want to see what's going on out there. I'm not saying that I'm like what's the word, auditioning or like, you know, fucking talent searching. But like sometimes I want to see what people are doing, and I want to see if anything catches my eye, any dancer catches my eye or dancers, and every once in a while it happens. But you know, sometimes it's like, sometimes I feel like the U.S., the idea of the arts, especially in dance, are downplayed a lot. And even in the like regular media and everything, and in the culture of it all, like it's really downplayed, and it's really, really taking a toll on Lindy Hop, because like you said, like there's not a ton of dancers that are coming up.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's 100% true. I think that, Americans don't value art overall.
The education of the arts, at least, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
but they don't. Artists don't get funded well. They don't get paid well. It's 100 times easier to be an artist in Europe than it is in the U.S. And that's why so many people live in Europe as artists. Yeah.
I mean, present company included.
Yeah.
Like, for me, like that's one of the big reasons I'm like, it's very hard to make it as a professional dancer in the States, but I see a lot of my peers in Europe, and they're killing it. I mean, not only that, just like they're living comfortably, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's the difference. It's like, let's go over here and try out. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
I've always had these ideas, but I don't know if they're really 100% true until I try them. So that's why I'm basically out here.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so much stuff. Like in the end of it all, like if you got the talent, man, you still got to work on it, and you still got to make sure the talent is worthwhile. Make sure that you're given this gift. Rather, if you're given this gift of dance and rhythm, then do something with it. Don't just like leave it on the wayside. But even if you love the dance, just love the dance, then you could still work at it, and you could still make it at some level. Make it for yourself. You know, be that teacher, be that awesome dancer. Create something really cool together with somebody else. But fuck, man, like go out there and do it.
I want to ask you, because I have no clue what you're talking about right now.
Oh, I was like talking to the audience. I'm like, if you're out there,
like going on this tangent, and I was like, what is he talking? Like all of a sudden you're talking about like talent.
Yeah. Like the thing about it is, like, for me, it's like, I feel like everyone talks about the negative things, or they overly romance it, the idea of being a professional dancer. And no one ever says like, hey, if you want to do it. Go for it.
Yeah.
Fucking, I support you. I support you 100%. Go for it. But again, like, if you have a talent, then work on it. Make sure if you have some people are just really good at dancing, and that's a talent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
someone has a natural aptitude for dancing.
Exactly. But you still got to work on it.
Yeah.
Some people don't, but they love the dance.
Yeah.
And that's when that work ethic comes into play. But like, don't sell yourself short just because you feel like, oh, I'm not as talented as them. Who cares? Fucking, you work at it hard enough, you'll get to a good point where you can succeed.
Okay, that was what I wanted to hear, because I was like, I don't understand what this has to do with confidence.
Fucking have some confidence to tell yourself you can be a good dancer.
Jeez. Oh,
let's go to the question. Grief. Let's go to the question of the day.
Okay.
Because I'm getting tired.
The question of the day comes from Gordon Dang.
Dang.
Dang, da, dang, dang, dang. Just kidding. Dang. I didn't do that.
Dig a dang.
His question is, which is not really a question, the first part. He says, getting over that instructor celebrity starstruck feeling. Do you have stories of how you became friends with other dancers? Do you, as an instructor, feel like you have to be friends with other instructors or promoters? Thanks, Gordon. What a guy. I think this is an awesome question. It goes totally with what we were talking about today.
Yeah, definitely. It kind of actually really goes into it.
I think that the important thing to remember is that there's no reason to be starstruck because they're just people.
Yeah.
Like, you don't go to your job and are starstruck by your boss. Do you know what I mean? Like, chances are your boss is hopefully better than most of the people that are working under them at that job. Like, that's why they're the boss. You don't go to them and go, wow, Mr. Boss Man, sir. Oh my gosh, can I get your autograph? Or you don't do that to your professor. Like, you don't go to college and you're like, oh, Professor Felicia, you're so wonderful. Can I get your autograph? You wouldn't do that. I mean, like, not that anybody's asking for your autograph, but you know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing. Like,
yeah. To idolize them.
Yeah,
in a way.
There's no reason to idolize. And I will say that I do think the community pushes idolization, especially in Southern California. Especially in Southern California.
Because the whole culture of Southern California is based off that. Is like, oh, you're famous, like, you know, like it's like one of those tricks where like if people are taking pictures with you, like other people will want to take pictures with you and they don't know why, but they just think you're hot shit or something.
Yeah.
But I think the celebrity instructor fucking starstruck feeling, like, I mean,
I've been there. I have felt it.
Yes. I mean, I think I can feel the same way. Like, I'm just like, wow, I've seen you on a clip before. But like, for me, it's just like, this is how you do it. You treat them like a normal person where you're like, hey, I've really enjoyed what I've seen you do.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to tell you. And I wanted to say thank you, or I really like this, or hey, I have a question about this dance that you did once, or this performance you did. Like, strike up a conversation, or like say something nice, or like say hello.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It could be that good. Like, don't treat anybody any differently just because they're good at something.
Yeah.
Unless they're like saving the world. Like, in that case, like then for
you
sure
can be
starstruck. Yeah.
I think most of my stories of how I became friends with other instructors, people who I had been starstruck with at one point, was that I just found a reason to ask them a question or to say something earnestly to them. Instead of like going up and like having a shtick, I'd be like, hey, I really enjoyed your class. I feel like this really is relevant to what I need to work on right now. Or like, hey, I'm interested in a private lesson. Ding, ding, ding. Would you be interested in, teaching me one? Yeah. And private lessons are like a great time to get to know an instructor a little bit more and just like have a conversation and talk about your dance a little bit and like ask them a couple questions.
But even then, like I've never seen any professional dancer at a dance event not have a few moments to like talk to somebody about dancing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like it's just like come up and strike a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
And it's just that easy. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody go, excuse me, I can't talk about this right now. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what do you gotta do? Like, maybe in the case of like someone just asked them to dance, maybe they'll go off and dance and probably come back and talk to you. If not, they'll probably go, hey, we're having a conversation. I'm going to stay right here. I'm sorry. I'm not going to dance right now.
Totally.
And I know I've done that a few times where I'm just like, I'm having this really good conversation with somebody and I'm going to stay here. This is the connection I want to have right now instead of on the dance floor right now. So maybe later I'll catch you later. So I think the best way to do that, to get over this feeling and maybe become a friend with somebody is, be normal.
Yeah,
and strike up a conversation with them. Be nice is always really nice. Is always a really good idea.
I think that's tricky for a lot of people though. Like, it's so easy to be like,
be nice,
no, be normal. Like, oh, be normal. But a lot of people are probably like, but I'm not normal. I'm awkward and weird and unpopular, or I'm kooky, or my personality is strange, or.
Yeah, for sure. But like you said before,
not
like,
everybody
hey,
is as cool as you, Mikey. Stop rubbing it in our faces.
You've said that many times.
Oh, he just panned the camera down so I could see his whole body. Like,
oh yeah.
You're
no, because
welcome.
I wasn't like this. I was like this. I was like, I'm gonna scoop back, so I'm gonna push this down. So, there we go. I fucked it up again. Okay, so the thing about it is that you just put the perfect example. Hey, thank you for the class. I really like that. Or, hey, you did really great in that contest. Or, hey, I really like this performance you did.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That I'm sorry, but that is really easy to do. And it's just that sometimes I think we forget that it's this as simple as that.
Yeah. Oh,
or
man.
even better, like, you know, we laugh at a couple things when people send us like comments and whatnot about like things that we're doing, but like, or things that we're doing wrong. But the thing is it's really nice to have that conversation with people, even if someone comes up to me and says like the weirdest thing, or has a question.
Yeah.
Like maybe go up to somebody and be like, hey, you once did this thing like this before, or hey, what does it feel like to dance with this so-and-so, or what does it feel like when you do a swing out, or like, I don't know, something. Like if you're so starstruck and you know they're going, for chances are, you know, somebody's who you idolize or who you really love their dance, like, you know where they're gonna be at a dance event. So like maybe like have a question ready.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know, like I just feel like it's in a social dance. Yes, people can be awkward, but like it's go up to them and ask them to dance.
The more I'm listening to you and the more I'm thinking about this question. So I'll just say, like, for a long time, even still, I have always been like very intimidated of talking to my superiors, Lindy Hop instructors, bosses, my boss's bosses. And when I started working at Blue Bottle, which is the coffee shop that I currently work at, I decided to come out of the gates running and just like not be afraid of talking to anybody, because I have found that it has not only not helped me in the past, but it's actually hurt me and hurt my career or whatever job I'm in. And and so one day there was like a bunch of people in town. The company is based out of the Bay. Right. A bunch of people were in town in LA because there was like a bunch of new employees and stuff. And so I was meeting this guy and he was like, "Oh, I'm Jevin." And I was like, "Cool, I'm Rachel." And he was like, "I'm going to come work on the bar with you for a couple hours." And I was like, "Sweet." And he came over and he was like, "Oh, so what's going on over here?" And I was like, This is the dish pit. This is where I'm washing dishes. Do you want to wash some dishes? And I was like super sassy and quippy with him. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, like, how's it going? So you're a barista?" And I was like, "Yeah, what do you do?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm like second to the CEO of the company or something." And I just like made some joke about him being stupid, not knowing what we were doing washing. This is a dish pit. But that ended up being like a memorable moment for him, and now he knows exactly who I am. Right, you know what I mean? In a positive way, which has only helped me in the company. And I've done the same thing like with my other. I have so many bosses, but I've done the same thing like with so many other superiors. Just been like confident and quippy and witty, and just trying to like be like, "Hey, I'm not afraid of you, and I can have a good time with you, and I can make you laugh." And then they're like, "Ha ha ha ha." I think the same thing can be said about Lindy Hop instructors.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, just in general, like anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody in this dance, like, yeah, we joke a lot about it, like just kind of a lot of people being a little bit socially awkward.
Yeah.
In moments, but I don't know. I feel like that's a bit of a crutch. It's a bit of a weak point where it's like, what if you just were who you are?
Saying that you're socially awkward? You're saying that's a crush?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
What if it was this is more of like of a feeling of like, hey, if you are good, you know that, then prepare ahead of time. Like be like I'm gonna talk to these people like I've prepared. Like I'm like let's say for instance, like you knew your bosses were coming in and you're like, cool, I'm gonna remember this person.
Yeah.
And then be like, okay, cool. And like I'm gonna have this thing. If they ask me this question, I'm gonna have this joke ready.
Yeah.
And that way they know I'm having fun at my work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think that just owning who you are and being confident about it goes a long way. And I've definitely been discovering that at Blue Bottle. Another example is the founder of Blue Bottle was in LA last week, and I was in the back. My location is a warehouse, and there's a roastery, and then there's like a storage warehouse in the back where there's like a desk where the manager does their work. And on my breaks, I go sit in the back. And usually what I do is I sit in the rolly chair and I kick my feet up on the desk. And it's like one of those old vintage metal desks.
Right.
I swear. So it's got like the center drawer and then like 3 filing cabinet drawers on the side. And in order to get any of the drawers open, first you have to push the center drawer in all the way, and then you have to pull it out halfway in order to pull out any of the other drawers. It sounds totally insane, but I swear that's how you have to do it.
That's the weirdest thing. It's like a lock thing.
Yeah. So I had my feet kicked up on the desk. I'm eating my yogurt. And he walks through the door with my boss's boss, my manager's boss.
Oh.
And I'm like literally like hands behind my head, feet kicked up on the desk. And I was like, in this moment, I can like show that I'm afraid that my feet are on the desk and be like, oh, sorry that my feet are on the desk. Or I can just be like casual about it and either like sit up to be like, oh, hi, how's it going? Or I can just like lay back. Do you know what I mean? And I totally owned it. And he was like, oh, relax, like having a little relaxing time. And I was like, yeah, just got to kick my feet up during my lunch break. And he was like, oh, so nice to meet you. I'm so-and-so. And I was like, I'm Rachel. And he was like, oh, it's so great to meet you, blah, blah, blah. Totally not.
That is seriously owning it up, man.
Totally not phased. Well, I was just like, this is a situation in which I can make myself look incriminating. Like if I think I'm going to be in trouble, then I could be in trouble even if I'm not. Like even if I'm not doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? Like my feet are up on the desk. I don't know. It was just like
is that breaking a law?
Breaking a law?
Corporate law?
I don't know.
But I mean, I think you're right though. Like I think it's confidence. And I think a lot of the things we talk about today is just in general of like having some kind of confidence when you dance. Yeah. Having some kind of confidence when you're talking to somebody, when you're socializing with somebody, because I think all of it kind of wraps itself up again into the idea of having a good dance. Yeah. Like if that's what we're talking about in the sense of Lindy Hop, we're trying to have a good dance. So confidence goes a long way to have a good dance. Like, and that could be said in so many different ways, whether you have the confidence enough to like, I suck at this, so I'm going to work on it. Yeah. Or like, I suck at this. I'm going to stay away from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Or I'm doing something really shitty, so I'm going to own up to it. As in like, I'm going to fall. I'm falling. I've fallen.
I have now fallen. Where is my life alert?
You guys, I've fallen. Life
alert!
Help,
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah, but I think everything we talked about today is the idea of being a confident dancer can take you in so many different ways, and hopefully take you in really good ways. And also, for me, the bright side of all this today is stop using the term rockstar. That is my bright side.
Seriously.
That would bring me so much more confidence if everybody stops saying you're a rock star. I'm like, I barely play my guitar anymore. I don't think I could be really considered any kind of rock star.
Yeah, I think it's become an offensive way to refer to Lindy Hop instructors. I would advise people to not use it. You know, the instructors have feelings too.
It's just dumb though. It's just like a dumb thing. Like Rockstar, really? Like if we were called rock stars because of a certain incident, and let's say like some person said you can consider me a rock star.
I mean,
like then I'd be like, this is offensive. This is horrible. How dare you ask for a term, ask for like a name for yourself?
I get it though, because I used to say it too, and I would say it in a way to refer to like the top tier of Lindy Hop instructors. It was an easy, all-encompassing way to be like, oh, the rock stars. Because you could say Lindy Hop instructor, and you could be talking about, your schlubby local instructor who totally sucks at teaching. I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, oh, man, totally. Like you were like giving me big eyes.
Jim's McGee.
But I mean, to be fair, there's some professional dancers out there that did suck at teaching. So
yeah,
I mean, there's no big difference anymore. But yeah, I mean, for me, that's my bright side. Like, stop using the term Rockstar Lindy Hopper.
Yeah,
that's my bright side. Even though it's a little bit of a downer, but.
Well, all right. I think. I mean, I could probably go like 3 more episodes talking about confidence because this is something that I am so truly facing right now in many aspects of my life. Moments before we started recording, I had interviewed for a promotion at my job on Friday, and moments before we started recording, they called me to tell me that they weren't going to further me down the interview line for the promotion. I know, which like I didn't want anyway, but it's still that like feeling of rejection of being like, oh man, they don't want me, or they don't think I'm good enough. And you know what's so crappy about it? No, I won't say.
Wait, hey, Rachel, why don't you tell me what feels so? Wait, never mind. Don't tell me. Please don't tell me. Don't.
I'm not gonna tell you.
Rachel, tell me how to make some, say, coffee. No, never mind. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. It's all right. Don't even.
But yeah, I think. I mean, I don't know. I think thinking about confidence and where you're at in your dancing and how much of it is reflected through the confidence that you have in your dancing is pretty important.
Yeah.
And I only say that because I've noticed in my own dancing this past year that I've had a lot more confidence when I've been competing. And overall, I've done substantially better than I had in years of competing. And it wasn't because I've been practicing more or I have a partner, because I don't have any of those things. But it was all based on confidence. All just on going out there and being like, I'm awesome, and if they don't see it, it's their loss.
But what about social dancing? Has your confidence been built through social dancing?
Yeah, I would say that it has. It has. And I think a large part of it. Go ahead.
Well, the only reason I say that is because you said that, like, in your competing, and I'm like, but you're competing like 3 or 4 times a year. Like three or 4 of your dances out of the year have been
confident.
You've been really
pretty confident.
Yeah.
But that's when it's been like it matters the most, or like there's like the most on the line. I don't know. I mean,
does it though? Does it? Like, here's the thing. For me, it's all the same.
Yeah.
It's all the same. It's all the same because for me, it's like it's all about dancing, because I can't judge all of my dancing on those 30 seconds I get in a contest.
Well, no.
I have to judge it on the whole thing, so it has to be kind of all in the line. So like I have to feel confident, good in my social dancing, and I have to feel confident in my competitive dancing as well, because they're equal to me.
Well, I agree with that, but I do think that there's more pressure when you're competing. So yes, it feels like it matters more. Like if I don't feel confident on a night of dancing, no one's going to know that except for me. Do you know?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but sometimes no one else knows that but you on a contest too.
Yeah, but I feel like
because other people perceptions are skewed, right?
That's true, but I also feel like it's more transparent in a competition because you're more vulnerable. It's like when you're dancing fast. Like the faster you dance, the more it can show your mistakes in your Lindy Hop, or like your holes in your Lindy Hop. I feel like it's the same thing. Like you can hide your problems and your self, I don't know how to call it, like the things that you don't like about yourself when you're social dancing more, because nobody's looking for it. But when people are watching you, it's easier to be like, oh, I can tell that person is not confident in their dancing.
Yeah, I see your point. Yeah, I see your point for sure. But I feel like for me, it's like if it all builds up to one point, if it all builds up to that like contest, then I should really build it up during my social dancing. That way it never feels any different for me.
It's building.
Right? It's building. It's building. It's building.
It was just a pen, you guys. It was just the pen.
Yeah, it's just the pen
that I'm holding.
But I mean, I get it. I get it. And maybe for me it's just a little bit different because, I mean, for one is like fucking I'm a leader and you're a follow, and sometimes it changes.
Yeah.
Like it depends a lot. Like for me, like I get to be like who I am a lot of the times, and you, not to say this is a good thing or a bad thing, but for you as a follower, like sometimes you have to adapt a lot more to your leader.
I also wonder if there's a difference between men and women in their confidence levels overall in the Lindy Hop community.
Good point. I mean, that is a whole nother subject, and we have that on our topics page.
We do. Yeah. Maybe next time.
That's such a good one. So we're gonna end it here before we keep talking any further. But again, everybody, we would love to hear from you guys. We would love to get some more questions.
Criticize us.
Tell us what we're doing wrong. Tell us when Rachel is singing a lot, and then where Mikey is just overpowering. Lots of voice. Like I got this one the other day where it's like yeah, I heard Rachel's voice and it was great in my ears, and then every time you would talk I would have to turn it down. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. That hurt.
They would turn it down, as in like they would make it silent because they only wanted to listen to me.
No.
Because if that's the case, then sorry about that person, and I will be starting my own podcast called The Brightside with Rachel.
The Brightside with the girl.
With the girl voice.
I love that, the girl voice. But yeah. Please let us tell us the things we're doing wrong. Tell us the things that we're doing good. To send us your questions, send us your ideas. Feel free to start some topics of discussion on our page. Tell Rachel what maybe some songs she should sing on the next episode.
If you want me to sing a song, awesome. I will sing it for you.
Exactly,
I mean, I have to know the song. I don't know all the songs.
Make some requests.
Yeah, make some requests. But if you make some strange requests like, oh, sing this traditional Persian song, I'm going to be like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. A, I don't speak Persian, and B, I don't know this song. So it has to be. I mean, you're like
giving them fuel. You're like giving them fuel. They're really gonna how about this obscure bullshit?
Well, I just, if I were that person listening to me, I'd be like, what about this song? Oh, you said sing a song? Well, how about this?
Oh, you're talking about trolls? Yeah, there's no trolls in Lindy Hop, right?
None at all.
All right, everybody, we're gonna bring this podcast to a close.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Feel free to hit us up again on all those things. And please go to iTunes and download all of us.
We have 11 episodes now.
It's amazing, right?
It's amazing, right? Yeah, it's so amazing.
It's amazing. So join us next time when we talk about things that are all about Lindy Hop or
not about Lindy Hop at all. The podcast where you don't learn anything. But you might laugh.
But you laugh a lot. Hey, to be fair, we never said you guys would learn anything anyway.
I mean, that is true.
It's your thing if you want to come to Mikey and Rachel. Yeah,
this isn't informative.
You want to come to Mikey and Rachel to learn some stuff? That is your fault.
We dummies.
All right, from dummy number 1 to dummy number 2.
Bye.
We're saying good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.